And we'll go over this. I'm going to walk you through it. Okay, so it's going to be almost like a lesson. Okay? It says calculate the unknown values. In this case, they want side P, right? What you do know right off the bat is you should recognize that there's a pair here. Okay, so that tells me that I'm going to have to use sine law, right? I have a pair. I'm using sine law. That is going to give you a mark. If you identify the right law to use, that from now on it's going to give you a mark. Okay. So I'm going to use my space wisely here. I'm going to go sine of 56 over 60 is equal to. Can I use 72? No, because it's going to give me this side, which I don't want. So I need to find angle P real quick. I have two of them, right? So 180 minus 56 minus 72. I'm just going to, because that's 52 degrees. That gives you a mark as well. So if you use sine law and you you found 52, that gives you a mark. So we're going to change the mark allocation a little bit. And then I'm using that as my starting point. Sine of 52 is going to give me side P. So you cross multiply and divide. And you get 5703. And we are in centimeters. So you get a mark for that as well. So we'll give you 3 marks for identifying P on that one. We're good? Hope so. Let's go over to question B. There's 2 question B's, but the one on the right. Angle Y is, where is it? It's right here. Identify it, right? And then it's side, side, side. I don't know if you've noticed that, right? So side, 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 definitely cosine law. And you should have, on your study sheet, you should differentiate between, this is SAS, and this is the one you use for side, side, side. In this case, A is for me Y, correct? Angle Y. So what side is going to go over here? Side Y, subtracting. That is the key here for success, right? Okay, so cosine of Y is equal to, I'm going to go minus 19.2 squared. And then the other 2 sides are going to lead here. And they get added up, right? So 1 mark for cosine law. If you identify cosine law, right, if that shows up, you get 1 mark. And then it's 2 times the first side times the second side. And then it's cosine of Y is equal to, I'm going to figure out what the top is. If I type that all in and you do it right, you get 338.96. If you multiply the bottom, you get 380.16. No negatives. So we're happy about that. What is our angle going to be? Less than 90. Acute, right? So cosine of Y is, oh, is it negative? I was looking at the wrong, sorry guys. Yeah. My bad. This is completely wrong. And it's on live television. Sorry guys, whoever's watching this. Minus 142.94 and 223.74. I was just checking if you were awake. Yeah, you are. Okay, so negative 0.638. That keeps going. Now it's angle Y is cosine inverse. Please show that step if you want full marks. And now we know it's obtuse. So cosine is a bit more work. Cosine law, you need to show a few more lines. You can do fewer lines if you're able to fit this in right next to this. Yep. -2. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That'll be half mark deduction because it's right. It says it at the top here. Round, like basically in this course, if you round to 2 decimals, you can't go wrong. Yeah. That's okay. Is it capital? Okay, then it's good. Even though I would assume it's a capital, even if it's a lowercase. I'm like, you probably just wrote it a little smaller. Anyways, there we go. I'm always on your side, right? So C, what is this? Side, another side, and the angle in between. SAS, right? SAS. That's a new thing like my boys always use in school. Yeah.
How many marks on the last one?
Sorry?
How many?
Oh. So 1 mark for cosine law,
Yeah.
1 mark for the work,
Yeah.
and 1 mark for final answer. Yeah. So 3. Yeah. Thank you. Come on. There. Tres. Okay. And then we go SAS. So I'm trying to find this one. And you're looking at your formulas and you're like, Mr. Dirksen only gave me ABC, right? But this is the side you're wanting. So make sure the angle across from it is there. So we're going to go L squared is equal to 16.2 squared plus 9.1 squared minus 2 times the first one times the second one. I hope you see the pattern, right? So this angle is across the side you want. L is square root. If you have a decent calculator, you can type that in one shot. If not, you need to do it in steps. And you get, for that root, you get 244.408700809. There you go. So it's 15.63 centimeters. So 1 mark for identifying the cosine law, 1 mark for the work, and 1 mark for the correct final answer. So everything is worth 3, 3, 3. So this is a total of 9 for question 1. So put a mark out of 9 for question 1. Because everything is worth 3. And now the harder one. So this one, I'm hoping that this one you know how to do by now, right? No word problem. It's just boom. Can you do this, right? And sometimes you need to do a little bit of extra work to get there, okay? Never underestimate the power of the fact that all angles in a triangle add up to 180. So if you have 2, you can find a third one, okay? All right. So in this case, let's interpret this. Some of you have already. We obviously assume that the building makes a 90 with the ground. This is the ultimate question. You can call it H or you can call it X, but the height of that gargoyle is what they want. Okay, so pay close attention here. The 20 is only applying to this little stretch. So I'm assuming that I'm going to focus on that triangle first. And then I'm going to worry about the height later. You should recognize that there's 2 right triangles. There's the big one on the outside, and then there's a smaller one inside. So the beauty of this is you can choose which one of these 2 sides you want to solve and then use either one. Okay. Now, the marks are going to change here, folks, so follow. If you find this guy right here, that is 120 degrees. If that shows up, you get 1 mark for that. No way. Yes, way, right? So then this one here, if you figure this one out, which is 180 minus the 120, this one, minus the 40, this is already 160, so 20 degrees, right? If that shows up, you get another mark. 2 marks already. So this 3 is not going to add up, right? This one is going to be, you can scratch it already. And the reason why the marks are off, because I chose to like just give 1 mark for each step. It's a lot easier to mark, right? So here we go. you have a pair now. This 20-degree angle is right across that 20 meter. It happens to be 20 as well, so you have to be careful. So let's go ahead and do that, and then I'm going to look at my key. What did I do? I'm going to solve for this. I'm going to call this y, right? So this is y. So sine of what do I need to use? I need to use this 40 if I want to find the y. If you use 120, you're going to find this. No problem. You're going to get a mark for that step. So y is there. Cross multiply. And I get 37.59. Anybody do this one? What do you get here? Lawrence? 50.64. We have some nods. Okay, so 50.64 is okay then. So for this step here, I'm going to give you 1 mark for using sine law and 1 mark for the correct final answer. 1 mark for sine law, 1 mark for correct. So if you have 50.64, you get the mark. Okay. Then, so step 1, step 2, step 3, now step 4. And so I would strongly recommend you do this. Make a little diagram where this is now the height, this here, and I found this y, so that's the side I'm putting in here. And so I know I'm going to use this one here, the 60 over here. If you found 50.64, you have to use the 40. That's the key here, that's the kicker, okay? I have my pair. I use sine of 90 over 37.59. Sine of 60 is going to give me x. You do the work, you get 32.55. Do you get 32.55 as well? The other, yeah? You rebels? No, I'm just kidding. 32.55. So 1 mark for setup, 1 mark for correct answer. I'm not going to give you another mark for sine law there. Just 1 mark for the setup, 1 mark for the correct final answer. So what are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This question is at a 6, which is probably going to be like that on a test. I'm going to probably break it down to you. Like I'm going to go find this angle, find that angle, find this, that, or the other. So this page is out of 15. Okay. At the bottom here, if you want to make it out of 15, it makes it easier later for tallying. Backside. I know I didn't cover this, but I was hoping you were just gonna, engage autopilot. I know what's supposed to be happening here, but you see this here? That means that this line is a north-south line, right? And so that meets this line here. So technically, at this corner, you have a 90 altogether. Okay, and so if this is 42, then I'm going to make it slightly off so you can see that they're 2 different angles. This would just be 90 minus 42, right, which is 48 degrees. That's a 1, yeah. That's a 1 marker right there. If the 48 shows up, even if you didn't do any work, just 48, boom, you get the mark. And so how far is Meg from the boulder? So Meg from the, where is the boulder? Boat, it should have been boat, sorry. I guess a boulder is in there. Lauren, take this as well. Just so you can follow. Okay, so that's a 48. So then we have side, angle, side, right? Cosine law. If you identify cosine law, meaning you just use the formula, you get 1 mark. And this is, I'm going to call this x. X squared is equal to 3.2 squared plus 5.8 squared, right? these two sides squared and added, and then minus 2 times 3.2, 5.8, cosine of 48, right? Which is technically angle X, right? You type that all in, you get 19.04187189. That's all my calculator can show me, and that's 4.36 kilometers, which makes sense. It's within reach, right? 19 would have been, well, it could be 19. Honestly, it could have been 19. Like, it's not too far-fetched, but 1 mark for cosine law, 1 mark for work, and 1 mark for correct final answer. And here I want to see how you work this one out. Technically, now you have a side, correct? Does that make sense? If I find this side, which is 4.36, I now have side, side. So they want that angle at Meg's location right here. So this is what I want. So I'm going to call that y. You can put a y in there for that angle. So I'm going to say cosine of y. You could use sine law, by the way. Sine law works as well, because technically you have a pair, right? So I will give you, I think you get a slightly different answer with sine law. I will give you that answer. So cosine of this angle, you got to make sure that the side across from it shows up at the end here, subtracting and squared. Right? And then it's 4.36 squared plus 5.8 squared. 2 times 4.36 times 5.8. You get cosine of y is 42.4096 over 50.576. And that gives me 0.8385. And so y is cosine inverse of 8385. Y is 33.01 degrees. If you use sine law, you get 33.05. Yep. Yeah. So we'll give you, you know what? I will give you 1 mark for choosing the law you chose. So sine law or cosine law, 1 mark for the work, and 1 mark for the answer. So we'll make this out of 3. 1 law, if you use sine law or cosine law, you get 1 mark. 1 mark for the work, 1 mark for the final answer. We're almost there. You can do this, folks. Yeah, write down whatever. It still helps to work through it. Almost there, guys. All right. So here, this H, I actually like it being there because you're like, wait a minute, do I use it? Do I not? What's happening, right? So they want to know the distance between Mariah to the bird and Kumar to the bird. So let's do one at a time. Do you have a pair? Not at first glance. Can you use cosine law? No, you only have one side. Because cosine law, think about it, SAS or SSS, right? Here you need at least 2 sides. Here you need all 3 sides. So, right? So it has to be sine law, but you don't see it. So let's find that up here. 180 minus 32, right? Minus this one, take away the 78. I'm forgetting about that, right? You bring one of those to your next task, right? There we go. That's better. No, don't do that. That's not going to give you marks. Sometimes you need H, right? But just forget about it. So that is, where is my 70? 70, you get 1 mark for that. So if this is 70, you have a pair now. So we can use sine law. So sine of 70 over 250, and the 250 goes from end to end, so I can use the whole angle to match with that side. Now, which one am I going to use? So I will call this X, I will call this Y. It's a very good idea to just give it a letter. So if I want to find the distance between Mariah and the eagle, I have to use sine of 78, right? I have to use this angle to get me that one. And you've clearly labeled it on the triangle, so I would give you the marks there. Right? Just because I don't have a lot of time, I'm going to fast forward. And that one gives you 260.23 meters, right? So this is the distance between Mariah and the bird. Kumar, right? I'm going to use the same pair like this, but now I'm going to use the 32. It's always opposite angle, folks, right? Over Y. You do the work, right? Cross multiply and divide. You get 140.98 meters. So this is Mariah, and this is the distance for Kumar to the bird. Could you find the height of the bird? You think you could? That'd be a nice bonus, maybe. But yes, you could definitely do the height, right? Now that you have that, right, you take either the left or the right. This you already found, which is 260.23. This is 32. This is a 90, of course. This would be the height. You have a pair. You solve there. Boom. Okay. So that. Did you write this down? I hope you did. Yeah. Question. Oh yeah. Okay. 1 mark here. 1 mark for using sine law. 1 mark for correct final answer. You could have used cosine law. Did you notice that? Once you find this, it's side, angle, side to find this. But anyways, here you get 1 mark for setting up, 1 mark for correct final answer. So this is out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take a good look at your AC. You get to keep this one. This is for your test to study. I hope you wrote this down. I recorded it, so if you want to go back and check. A lot of these are straight from the book. Straight from the book, right? So I know some of you struggled. Don't get too overwhelmed. Learn from it. Apply what you've learned here, because these are the trickiest one of all. Like, this is as hard as it gets. Well, I shouldn't say that because there's always a curveball here and there, but if you could wrap your head around what we did today, you're in pretty good shape. I will say this, your study sheets, guys, you need to have a good study sheet. Like, you need to have like what to do when, maybe you have an example of one of these on there, right? Try to like squeeze it and just have the step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, right? Have some of these ones on there. It will help you. And don't be too fixated on ABC, right? Your formulas only have ABC. Look at the pattern, right? For example, I'm not done talking yet because I have too much on my mind here. For example, if I wrote down my cosine law formulas, I would actually, I would only have one of these written down, one version. And on this one for SAS, I would say, right, make sure these are across. So if this is Y, then angle Y goes there. If this is Z, angle Z goes there, right? Same with the SSS, right? If this is angle Y that I'm looking for, then I better subtract side Y, which is opposite to it. And make sure that the top is squared, the bottom is not, right? I would focus on the pattern, not so much on ABC, right? Okay, that's it for today. Tomorrow we will do more of this kind of stuff. Yeah. This one is not for marks. This one is yours.